Greetings, everybody. Nino the Mystic Truther here, and welcome to another Let's Talk. Tonight, we are going to be talking about some current events that's happening in the news, in live time here. And so a little disclaimer, if politics or current events and all that kind of stuff is a trigger for you, then this might not be the show for you, okay? But for those who are interested, welcome. I hope that you guys are doing well here. But before we get going with the show, Robert, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. I'm still here. Here. We're the chaos is not hit my house yet, so we're good.
That's good. Yeah, no, you're kind of out in the boonies, so I'm assuming that there won't be any riots in your neck of the woods, hopefully.
But don't worry, I'm already bugged out. I'm safe. I'm sound. I have my water, my food, my to-go bag, and I'm ready to go at any given moment. And when the big mushroom clouds come around, I'm headed to the basement. If it'll do me any good or not, I don't know. But there we go.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, no, it's always good to be ready for anything, really, because you just don't know. The world is just going nuts right now. As we kind of predicted, that 25 is going to be a pivotal year. And it's kind of looking that way, isn't it? So tonight, I thought we would go over like the original story that I wanted to do tonight was Trump's post about Biden and the cloning thing. To me, that is a story that's been overlooked. Honestly, a lot of people, I know nobody's talking about it. Nobody's doing any shows on it. It kind of got buried with all of these Musk and Trump feuds that have been going on lately, which could be a distraction, honestly, so that we don't pay attention to some of the things, you know what I mean? So, we've got to keep that in mind as well. What is distraction and what is actually real? It's hard to kind of tell nowadays, especially with AI as well. Like even the stuff that we're going to be talking about, like, who knows if it's even real? Like it's almost come to that point now where you can't trust anything. And especially after this post, now you really got to, question everything. And then we're also going to go over the Bilderberg meeting that was this weekend, go over what they were talking about, because that's pretty much, you can tell by the agenda what they're talking about and what's coming. You know what I mean? In the future here, in the near future, really. This is a once a year thing. So one can almost assume that within the next year, there's going to be, it's going to be a hot topic there. And then, of course, yesterday we had the No King protest, which, as far as I can tell, I don't see anybody reporting anything. It seemed like it was a peaceful protest, so that's good. That's great. Seems like most people, are okay, except for a couple of politicians that got unalived, I believe. I don't know if are you frozen, Robert? You look frozen on my end here. Are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your face is frozen. Well, that's okay.
Oh,
as long as we can hear you, it's all good. You guys let us know if you can hear us okay. If there's
I hope I got a smile on my face.
Well, there you go. Yes, you did. So no worries. I know you had some articles from the couple of politicians that got unalived there, which I don't believe had anything to do with the protests. I do believe that this guy was a separate incident. It just happened to be on that same day. I don't think it had anything to do with that, as far as I know.
Well, it still had to be. I still think it had to be politically motivated. At least that's what they're saying, because
obviously the guy random people said about the politics that these guys were, was upset about something.
Now, I don't know a whole lot about it, but the idea of somebody, if you have heard about a little bit about what he did, he dressed up like a cop in a cop car that looked like a cop car. And then, and then he had actually, I think they said they found a list of all the people he had on there. And he had this planned out. And then it was well thought out, put it that way. It wasn't no spur of the moment. I'm crazy nuts. So I've been planning this in my basement for a long time, and I've really thought this through, and I've planned for weeks and months and years. So he either had a big vendetta against these people, or who knows? And he's still on the loose. That's the problem. They didn't catch him.
So
He's
he
still
might still be after whoever's on this list then. So that's a little disconcerting, I guess.
The only thing I'm thinking is he got away, and they haven't caught him. So if he had such an elaborate plan to get away, or I mean to do this, he must have had an exit plan too, because he didn't plan on getting caught. That's worse than anything. You know, most of these guys, they find them like 2 days later, and they shot themselves and you know, unalived themselves somewhere along the line because they didn't want to get caught. And so anyway, there you go.
So this is going to be interesting to follow and see. You know, this guy, are they going to catch him? Is he going to be able to get away with more? You know, of this. So we'll keep an eye on that, I guess, in the news there. But I don't want to give him too much attention because he doesn't deserve it. So it's one thing to have a disagreement with the politics and whatnot, and you should go out there and do something about it, but that's not the way to do it. Unaliving people just is not a good thing. So that's not the way to do it.
The only thing that is a big deal, as you know as well as I do, is when you got this guy on the loose, it makes people scared because you could be around the block somewhere. He could be in your neighborhood. You could be going to the gas station. He's there. You don't know who he is.
Well, I don't think, just regular people have to worry. I don't think he's after, but if I was a local politician there, on the same party as those other, that would definitely worry me a little bit, and especially if they have the list. You were talking about a list. I don't know if they have that, then those people definitely need to be, on alert for sure, so I'm sure they'll find them. If they know who he's after, they'll be patrolling and watching, and paying attention. So, what are they saying?
Let's get back to your protester thing. I think this is the most hilarious thing in the world. I mean, I don't mean we touched a little bit on it last night at the very end of our show. And we figured out that somebody had said that the part that's getting rioted is just about like a mile-long strip of part of the city. It's barely affecting anybody. Los Angeles is like 10 million people living in this valley. And it's only affecting such a small place. And somebody says, "Oh, no worries. I went outside and went down to the coffee shop and got some coffee, and everybody's peaceful and silent here." They're only rioting in that one little spot. Why? Why?
Well, when I tried to watch some before I went out yesterday, and wow, it looked like a lot of people in New York, in particular, like bumper to bumper, like thousands of people. So but it's good to see that nothing happened. Now I know somebody mentioned here that they were paying, and I saw people posting up these Craigslist ads, looking to recruit and paying people. So I was wondering, like, oh boy, if you get enough of these provocateurs, they're gonna, get stuff going. But I guess they didn't, or I don't know. It's so
there was also the guy who they caught him though. That was when he had a truckload of those helmets with face shields, and not the cheapo ones, the quality face shields, and he was passing them out to all the rioters. And obviously this guy, after they arrested him, he's not the kind of guy that had money to go and buy all these to give them away. So who gave him the money?
Like they're being sponsored probably by the Soros people, because apparently he was behind the last one, pallets of bricks and all this kind of stuff. So it seems like they tried, but for some reason they didn't succeed. So that's good news. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
With that amount of people, it could have gone a lot worse than what it did.
Well,
So
I think most of these people, they're like I said, I don't think a lot of them really want to protest. I mean, they're having to pay these people because the people who migrated and immigrated here illegally or legally don't want to go out and burn American flags and burn the city down because they came here from a shithole country or a place for a better life. And now what? That which is making no sense to me. Maybe you can enlighten me.
yeah,
I
so
don't
as for
understand the
yeah,
facts. Why would you do that?
so the
Go back
immigration
home.
thing is what was happening in LA. And I guess on my thumbnail is like what happened in LA. So the LA fires and all of that rocket that's going on down there, and I think that's still going on, as far as I know. That's all about immigration, that one there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's from what I understand, because I was obviously talking to people about this yesterday, it's not just illegals, apparently. Trump is also going after landed immigrants or something like that. So this is turning out to be a bigger deal than originally planned, I think. And that's why they're getting upset. Like people who have been here a long time, already established businesses and whatever. And so, yeah, I can't say I blame them, but the legal thing, yeah, you know what? If you're here illegally, you need to go. That's not the way to go. Again, that's not the way to go about it. If you want to immigrate, you should do it the proper way. So I don't say I blame them wanting to deport the illegals. However, I don't know about going after landed immigrants. That's going a little too far, So that's what's going on in LA. But the other protests, the no king, that's all about wanting Trump out
Yeah.
specifically, not one, particular um, policy or anything. They just want him out. They just don't want the whole king rulership, dictatorship type of thing that he's doing. He pretty much, his ego is screaming like he thinks he's the king. So yeah, so that's gonna interesting to
Well,
see too how many people are against him. Makes you wonder who exactly voted for him. You know what I mean? So I
yeah.
don't know.
Well,
Um,
and that's the thing is who's against Trump? It's all those people who are getting axed or getting the raw deal. Like, I mean, if I was an immigrant and I'm going to get shipped back and ICE is out there hunting me down, of
mhm.
course I'd be mad. I would like, what a king! He just laid down the law. Biden let me in, and life is good. He gave me money. Trump cut it off. Trump took away my cell phone. Trump took away my food stamps. And he wants to ship me back to my country, and I did a whole bunch of horrible things there and here, and they just keep letting me go. And man, that guy, I don't like him.
Well, so
Well,
this is all pre-planned. So the whole Biden administration, just let them in, right? Let them
yeah,
all in, for Trump to then turn around and deport them. Well, what's going to happen? Obviously, there's going to be probably civil unrest out of it. Like I'm surprised that it didn't go any worse than what it did, but I'm glad that it did. And it's not over yet. We still
yeah.
have the next 3 weeks here. I believe that something big is going to be happening around the July 4th weekend. It seems everything, all astrology, Cliff High's thing, everything is sort of pointing to that direction. So I think this is just
Well,
the beginning of this happening. You know what I mean? So
you
yeah.
you do remember? Let's turn the clock back a little bit. Now you do remember, as I think I do. Maybe I'm wrong, but was it during the Biden administration? They were picking these people up and putting them on buses and planes
Yeah.
and shipping them all over the
Yes.
country.
Yeah.
And those cities that were taking all those people in, they seem to be the ones that are rioting.
Mm.
Or is it just me?
Yeah, I don't know. They're protesting everywhere, but LA in particular, I guess, is
Yeah.
where it's,
But they shipped them everywhere. They shipped them
Well,
all the
yeah,
big
it was
cities.
deliberately done. That's the thing. It was deliberately done. And
Yeah.
so that's the thing. Now, let's go back to what I wanted to talk about today, which is about Biden essentially and
Mm.
Trump. To me, this is huge.
Mm-hmm.
This is a huge story. And so, yeah, let's look into that now. I think I have a thing here if I can.
Okay.
I think it's this one here. Yeah, there it is. Let's see if I can get in there. So this is the post that he posted up on Truth Social, which is his own social media platform, essentially. I am not part of it because I don't trust it. I think it's, if they want to, find Trump supporters, they'll go through everybody that's signing up for this. So I don't want my name anywhere near it because I don't want anything to do with Trump. So I just go by other people posting it. But this is the post, okay? And this is like I said, nobody's talking about it. This was May 31st. So only a couple of weeks ago. Like it was literally like probably the day before the whole Musk and Trump thing started. And I think that whole thing was a distraction away from this story. And it worked because nobody's talking about it. I think I'm one of the few. But yeah, he's saying here there is no hashtag Joe Biden. He was on a live apparently in 2020. Okay. And Biden is a clone, double, and robotic engineered, soulless, mindless entities are what you see. And well, we all noticed it, inconsistencies with his ear, his height. The one Biden was like a foot taller than the other Bidens. And so there was a lot, we all noticed it. We talked about it, but we're just conspiracy theories and, what do we know? Right. Well, now he's coming out and confirming it. So that, this is something that as the American people, you guys need to question him. You guys need to write to the White House, write to your local people about this and ask them, well, who the heck was in charge of your country for the last 4 years then? Right? That's something that you have a right to know. You need to start digging into this now. Like who was in charge? Because, chances are that, the same people are obviously in charge now as well. And it kind of proves that the president doesn't really, he's just a face, you know what I mean? A name. That's it. He doesn't really do a whole lot. So that kind of confirms that as well. And so again, what are we voting for? What do we have all this in for? You're openly admitting this stuff now. So, and that also makes me wonder, like, who is real and who is not? Like, are any of the politicians actually a real person anymore? Have they all gone underground and it's just clones that we're seeing? Because going back to the Bilderberg meeting, none of the big hitters were there. There were minor people. None of the big people were there. So that's another one that makes me wonder. I wonder if they're all gone like underground into their bunkers already, and all the people that we're seeing, your politicians, your government, they're all just clones.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, you look at Musk. The strange behavior that's going on. Now, mind you, he is known to do drugs, and drugs do take a toll on a person. There's, there could be strange behavior from that, but maybe not. Maybe it's a clone glitch or something. You know what I mean? Like it makes you wonder because he does have some really strange behavior. His mannerisms and stuff. You know what I mean? Like he could definitely be some kind of robot, soulless, engineered, mindless. You know what I mean? Entity, as he's saying here. And then, of course, he's, dissing the Democrats because they don't know the difference, he's saying, between, well, we all noticed it. Okay, I don't care what party you were voting for. We all noticed it. And, this is a serious post that's not being addressed, and
and that's the thing. And where was it posted? It says here that the Daily Beast was one of the papers, and the independent.com was another one that posted these baseless claims, they say, and so there's two papers or two news places that were posting this, and it makes you wonder why would they. I don't know much about the Daily Beast, nor do I know much about the Independent, so I'm just reporting what I'm reading.
Yeah, so this is where did I get this from? Independent. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that is where I got this from here. Um, Now, the way they're talking though is, oh, Trump has seemingly been clinging or digging into conspiracy theories all weekend, including on Friday when he claimed that CBC deleted his 2015 interview with Stephen Colbert. Now, I
Mhm.
did see some clips from that, and the clips that I saw, I didn't think it was a big deal. Like, didn't really say anything, unless there's other things that we don't see. I don't know what else he said in that interview, but that was a while ago too. That was before he even got in. So
Well, you know
uh,
how they are with editing. You know, he could have been talking
yeah.
about things, and then they edited it out, and then that's what he might be talking about. Is, hey, we had
Mhm.
a an interview, but you cut like all the important parts I wanted to talk about.
Well, that's what they do,
Yeah.
there. So, um,
So, but
yeah.
is but let's take a trip back in time. You know, we're talking about Trump,
Mhm,
but remember when Biden, if you don't, I think there was you'll
mhm.
remember. Remember when they talked about when he first maybe about a year into his being elected that there was parts that there was like a green screen and he had a fake White House made up and a TV set and then his ear was longer in one picture and not so long in another. It was different types of
It was
earlobes.
attached or
You,
not attached. Yeah, they're two different earlobes, and yeah,
yeah,
so we
you
noticed
can't
that.
make that
Yeah.
up. You
No,
either
you
have
can't.
an attached earlobe or you don't have an attached
Yeah,
earlobe.
exactly. And then the one, which was sort of at the end of his reign, I guess, he was like a foot taller. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah,
Like, very obvious. He was standing next to his wife and it's like, whoa, what the heck? Like,
yeah,
so I don't know. So, yeah, we noticed it, but,
yeah. Well,
uh,
remember that one where the it had to be a green screen. They're interviewing him, and then all of a sudden you seen this mic float by, and it's like, oh, is he really outside?
that's the thing.
Or, is the
Most
whole
of
thing
these
green
things are
screen?
fake. Yeah, they're all green screen. That's the problem.
And
Most
yeah,
of these.
uh, they didn't want anybody to see, because there was times when he would like did you ever remember the times he disappeared for like a week or two or a week? And they're like, oh, all his conferences and everything, Biden, quiet time at the Biden, the state. He hasn't been seen for 3 days or something like that. And it's like, what?
Yeah,
He just quit being president for a few days and took a week's vacation again.
yeah. That's the thing. So now that we're going back, right? You know, yeah, it kind of validates, what we were suspecting all along. So again, it makes me wonder, like, who actually, is an actual person in there and who is not. That's the thing. And so, yeah, I, as an American, I'm a Canadian, so I don't really, I can't really write to the thing. But if you're an American, which most of my audience is, I would definitely question this. I would write in to your either local, I don't know what you call them there, MLAs is what we call them here. Your local people, and talk to them about this. Like, this is coming from the leader. Like, can you confirm this and can you elaborate on this? Who was
Oh,
in charge of the country?
oh, you want the facts? Reported days off away from the White House are on vacation for Biden. Reported 532 days off by September 2023. That's
Mm,
40% of his presidency at that point. And the
mhm.
New York Post posted in February 2025 claimed 577 days over the 4-year term. Boy, somebody's got some things wrong there. And let's see, it says here, let's see, vacation days, 117 to 118 full vacation days, 66 partial vacation days, a total of 183 or 184 days. Um,
Mhm.
I'm
We
thinking, oh my
spent most
gosh,
of his time on the beach, apparently. I mean, the guy
yeah,
was so old and so dementia. If that's maybe it wasn't dementia, it was something else, and that's what he's alluding to. So I don't know. I see. Some people are saying it's distraction. Everything is a distraction.
Well,
But
let's do this math here. In historical sense, Obama was 328 days in 8 years. Bush was 1,020 days over 8 years. And believe it or not, old tough man Jimmy Carter was only 79 days. Can you believe that? That is crazy business. So, but if you figure that was 8 years, Obama, that was only like 150, 160 days or so that Obama was off for 4 years because you got to divide it in four. And Bush
mhm,
was off quite a few, that's another 500 days that Bush was off for 8 years. I mean, so that would have been 4 years, but still, I mean, that's just a lot of time
mhm.
off, more than the other presidents put together.
I guess we kind of know why now. Then
Yes.
he's having glitches and issues with the whole clone thing. I guess so there you go. But yeah, I just wanted to bring it up because I don't see a lot of people bringing it up. He kind of
Yeah.
got brushed out of the way as soon as the whole Musk Trump feud
Yeah.
thing. And that was a real distraction, I do
Yeah.
believe. Like
39 to
so,
40% of his presidency, he was on vacation. Almost half.
well, and
That's
again,
great.
it shows you that you don't really need the president around because he doesn't
No.
really do a whole lot. Okay,
No.
it's just a face, a name. There's somebody else behind the scenes that are actually doing the work. You know what I mean? So that kind of proves that as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I found that very
Well,
interesting. Let's
by the end
see.
of his presidency, there was a lot of people asking, "Who's running the government? It can't be that guy."
Well, clearly not. Clearly
Yes,
not.
but
So it
but
makes
on
you
the
wonder.
other,
'Cause if you remember going back to like 2016 with the whole Hillary thing. Remember that she had odd behavior. She was falling over. There was a lot. That makes me wonder too. She's probably a clone. That was probably a clone as well. And
yep,
that brings, like who is actually real that we're
yeah,
seeing on TV, so to speak. Not nobody watches TV, but you know what I mean? Like, have they all sort of gone underground already? And all we're seeing up here is just a bunch of clones pretending to be real and pretending
well,
to whatever, like, yeah, it's
and that
kind of,
that could definitely be. I mean, even if they have the real one, they got plenty of doubles. That
yeah,
the real
doubles,
one,
clones, whatever you want.
is
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the and the double only has such a long, maybe gets weak faster, maybe it doesn't survive well, maybe it's only there for a few events and then they rotate them around so nobody can really recognize, hey, I saw Hillary last week. No, I saw Hillary last week. And then people can't put the,
Hmm.
what did she really look like together? Because if you see a different person each time, you're like, well, I don't remember if she had earlobes or did she have it, how was it? I can't remember. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you see somebody all the time and you get to know them, well, then you can definitely spot
Hmm.
if they're the same person. You know instantly.
Hmm. Yeah. So who knows? It makes you wonder. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really makes you wonder at what's going on. But I want to move over to the Bilderberg because I thought that was interesting. And I actually was on
Yeah.
Mac's channel earlier today for a couple of hours. So make sure you go over there and check that out. We talked a lot about this stuff and other things as well. And he's the one that mentioned that, yeah, there was nobody, no big names at the Bilderberg meeting, which again makes me wonder,
Hmm.
maybe, the big guys are all underground, like I said, and they're just sending out the small fry, and I'll
Well,
show
then.
you guys what they were talking about
Hmm.
this year. And it was kind of interesting because some of the people that were actually there and filming it and everything, they didn't have access to this website, which I thought was weird because I had no problem accessing the website, and I got all the agenda right here. The topics for discussion this year are, and so this is what's coming up, you know, um, in the near future here. So I don't know if you guys can see this. I don't think I can make it any bigger. I don't, it doesn't look like it. I hope you guys can see it, but I did put the link to this down below so you can look at it yourself if you want to. But yeah, transatlantic relationship was #1 on here. And then, of course, you got Ukraine. I mean, that's an ongoing thing here. U.S. economy. So we've been talking about, the economy is probably going to be crashing here, blah, 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 the dollar, this and that. We've been talking about that for a long time now. Well, that actually got brought up. So expect something to be happening to the U.S. economy. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the next thing here is Europe. Again, there's going to be stuff going on in Europe as well as the Middle East, of course. And that's something that's huge today. As you probably know, that Iran got attacked here.
Well, remember, let's stop on the Middle East thing. Now, it occurs to me, and back me up here or tell me if I'm wrong, or back me up, one or the other. Remember about, 5 or 10 years ago, or less, maybe less, I remember in the news that all these people from the Middle East were getting bussed up, and they were getting across the Mediterranean, and they were going into these European countries. And even Delabore, he used to say that they were coming in and taking over whole towns in Germany. They were in encampments of thousands, and going all the way up into Sweden, Norway and Denmark, and
Europe has been invaded by Muslims. We've talked about that.
Now,
yes, this is part of why
I'm not wrong in that. Now, hear me out. The same way that Biden busts the illegals from foreign countries, South America and stuff, up into the States to create these riots. Did they put these people, and I'm just delusional here, saying they put them in these countries so that when the Middle East goes to war, what side is the European countries going to pick? To back. I mean, are you going to back Israel if you're from the Middle East, or are you going to back Iran if you're from the Middle East?
Somewhere you're from, I guess, right? But it's going to cause a lot of uproar, right? And they're taking over. They're breeding like crazy, and of course, the Western folks aren't having as many children, and so they're breeding like crazy and just taking over. All the churches are now become mosques, and because a lot of people have left religion, so there's a lot of them sitting there empty, and they're just being taken over. Everything and being catered to. That's another thing,
So my thought is yes, I'm thinking they're going to create. If we'll just pick a country, say we're going to pick Germany, right? They're in the thick of things, and if Germany decides to send troops and go down to the Middle East and fight for Israel, right? Well, if they protest or they get those Middle Eastern guys to do sabotage in Germany, and or if they incorporated those people into the military, when they get to the Middle East with the tanks and the helicopters and all that good stuff, what would you say they might turn on their own men because they're from, you got 2 guys who are original Germans and the rest are all from the Middle East. Would you want to be in that group of fighting men? And they could just march over to the other side, hey, I'm with you. I'm not with them. I
don't know about that, because if they fled from there, there's a reason. They probably wouldn't fare too well over there now. They're probably going to get on a line.
Or are they undercover?
Well, that we don't know. See, that's the thing. Like, we're being invaded, basically. Europe's been invaded. North America's been invaded by them. And America's doing it deliberately, like busing all these, immigrants in. And so it's really, it's domestic terrorism. Is that what they call it? This is done deliberately, right? So
this here is a different thing. In the States, it's the illegals against the people who live here because of being illegal. Over there, once they go to fight, it's a religious war. This Israel against Iran is a whole big a religious war. And religion doesn't see color, it doesn't see this, it only sees faith. You believe in this or you don't. And if you don't, they've been, you're out.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, this is just speculation. Obviously, we don't know. Time will tell exactly, but we are being invaded. So, you know what I mean? And they're mentioning it here. They're talking about, I'm sure what they're talking about here is the war that's going on between Israel and Iran. And so, but they are talking about Europe too. So they probably are talking about what we just talked about here, all of it, so it's going to be really interesting.
Like I said, it was just my thoughts. That's what I'm putting. If I had to put 2 and 2 together, that's what I would be thinking.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, let's find out. We'll find out soon enough, won't we?
We will.
Right. So what I'm concerned about, though, is that Israel, of course, wants Trump to send American soldiers over there. See, that's not good. That's not going to be good for, American people.
No. And again, we're going to pick a side.
He just asked again, I guess he's asked before, and he just asked again today, so I don't know exactly what Trump's stance is on that, if he's still standing firm on no, or is he swaying now, because, we know who owns him, right? So, so, I wouldn't want my guys over there, so... we'll have to.
All it'll take to get into a war with Iran now is for the U.S. to send a ship or 2 over there, which they already have, and have Iran have one of those missiles hit the ship and kill thousands of men.
That's what I'm saying.
The war would be on.
Yeah, we don't want to be involved. Yeah, we don't want to lose our guys over their stupid stuff. This is their stuff. They can deal with it themselves. So I hope that Trump stands firm on that.
And I wouldn't put it now, I don't know if you know this bit of history, but at one point in time, Israel actually fired upon a U.S. ship. Would they not fire upon one of our ships to start the war? It was back in the 60s, I think it was, if I could recall. I don't know. I'll look it up here. But,
okay. I'll keep going down here so we're not spending too much time in there.
Keep going.
Authoritarian access. I'm not sure exactly what that is. I don't know. Is that something that you know anything about? Authoritarian
I don't
access?
know. I don't know
either. So you guys can look that up yourself. If we don't know even what it is, then we can't debate it. So now the next one is defense, innovation, and resilience. Defense. So again, it's all about, defending our countries here, and, which means war, you know what I mean? So there's that. And then this one I found interesting. AI, deterrence and national security. Again.
Oh, man, do I have one for you on that.
Okay.
AI. Oh, boy, you're going to like to post this. Just a second. I have... I got it here. I don't know why this has come up. But, do I have a good one for you? Here it is. Oh, no, that's not it either. When you get stuff like that, it just comes up and then it goes away.
I just want to interrupt.
But here,
can I just interrupt for a second?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I see. If you were here in the beginning of the show, I did do a disclaimer. This show is all about politics and current events. So if that's something that you're not interested in, if that's something that triggers you, this is not the show for you. Okay? This is not a spiritual show at all. It is about current events. And so just a disclaimer, I mean, when you see my thumbnails, you can kind of guess, what the show is going to be about. So if that triggers you, then just don't watch that show. Okay? Don't unsubscribe. Okay? Just don't watch that show. Okay? And come back when we do have a show that is more to your liking. Okay, guys? So just another disclaimer there. Yeah. All right, now should we just continue this before I show your thing here?
Oh, well, you're talking about AI. This is AI, and right in our streets. This is the new thing.
Okay, why don't we show that after? Let me just finish what I
Okay.
was doing here.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm not going back and forth with stuff here. So AI is definitely on the talks, okay? Deterrence and national security. I found those three things in the same sentence very interesting. I sure wish I could be there and hear what they're talking about, but that is
Don't we all?
definitely what, right? I mean, yeah, exactly. So that's on a hot topic. That's on the thing that they talked about. Now, the other one is proliferation. Not sure exactly
Yeah.
what that's all about, so I'm just going to leave that. And then you got geopolitical of energy and critical minerals.
Yes, rare earth
So I'm
minerals are big
wondering,
on the topics right now because
yeah, so
I
I'm
mean,
wondering minerals. See, Canada has a lot of resources here, and there's a reason why Trump wants it. And
yeah,
so I'm wondering if we have critical minerals here, maybe in Greenland as well. Who knows? So whatever else he's got planned, and that's why he wants it, because it's critical. The word critical, like we have to have these minerals
well,
for whatever.
we do if they want to go to all this AI stuff. Every computer, every battery pack has lithium in it now. If you want anything good, it's going to have lithium. It's going to have rare earth minerals to make those magnets, and it's
Well,
going
we
to
have
have.
lots of lithium here, you see. You see what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So this is why Trump wants to take over certain countries because,
Yeah,
yeah, we have critical minerals that everybody's going to need in the future. You
yeah.
know?
Well, and that's right. Canada has graphite, Max says, and all of those things run the cyberspace. It runs the computers. It runs all. If we just went back to gears and push buttons and hand levers, they wouldn't need all that stuff. But they need the cobalt and all the rare earth mineral things to make the magnets. I can't
Mm-hmm.
even remember all the names of it. Lithium is right
Yeah,
on that list, and
yeah.
otherwise, we got to depend on who? China has like 80 or 90% of it right now. So we're beholden to them. They cut us
So
off, we're
we're
done.
trying to separate from that probably, right? So
Yeah.
we want to have our own so that we don't have to be so dependent on China. Yeah, that's, you know what I mean? So that might be a reason why it's critical. It's critical that we do this. Now, the last one is a little bit concerning to me. Depopulation and migration. Now we know the migration thing is obviously a hot topic. It's, but it was done deliberately. So I don't know why they're all surprised now. But the depopulation, now that's now I don't know if they're just talking about the fact that we're not having enough babies, or are they talking about wanting to?
Yeah.
That's the question there, and that's very concerning. It should be concerning for all of you. But these are the topics that they talked about here over this weekend. Um, so yeah, so there's that. All right, I'll let me see if I can get rid of that thing. Where did it go? Get rid of that. There we go. All right, so I'm going to show what you got then. What do you got
Yeah.
here? Oh,
Well, we were
robots.
talking about AI and security, and
Yes.
that's what I'm saying is this is coming to a town near you.
It's already
It's
there. Like Trump already has one of those things. A Mar-a-Lago walking around. Apparently, it's one of those
really.
dog things. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. That's old news. That's been going on for quite a while now. And this
Well,
is
yeah.
what's going to be taking over law enforcement pretty soon. Between
Yeah.
drones, cameras, and these things here, yeah, we won't need real policemen anymore. So those jobs are going to be gone soon. And
Yeah,
so,
but I think this is going to freak people out when they start seeing it. Or my thought is either they're going to put this at Walmart so
yeah.
that people get used to it,
Mm-hmm.
or so when the real ones like the dog thing comes out
Mm-hmm.
with you know they won't
With
get so
machine
freaked
guns.
out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Yes,
they're gonna
I
be armed.
wanted to say that, but I ixnayed on the ashnay for the algorithm.
Right, right. Yeah, I'll probably be taking this down. So that's another thing. A lot of these shows will go live here, but I'll take them down right away, and then I'll upload them to Rumble, okay, and Odysee and Bitchute, so you guys can go and watch them there if you don't catch the live shows. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you are following us over on Rumble, okay? Now, she's bringing up a good point, Bonnie, here about the Deagle report, right? And that's another thing that, we're paying attention to. We're halfway through the year now. We only have another half a year left here. And they are talking about it.
Well, they just talked about it in your report there. It says
that's what I'm saying. They're talking about it, right? And and they have mentioned it. They show, in the Deagle report, they took that down, of course. You can't find it now, but there's been enough people doing shows on that Deagle report that you can find it online.
So I keep telling a friend of mine, every day that goes by that millions of people don't die, that means that the closer and closer we get to the end of 2025, how bad it's going to be immediately. Because how do you get 6 billion dead in 2025 and we're halfway through? That means as it gets closer, so many people are going to have to die at such a rate that we won't even be able to comprehend it.
So for those who are not familiar with the Deagle report, from what I can remember, just recalling, what I saw there, the UK and Germany are the worst. They were talking 80% of the population, and we were just talking about Germany. Germany is getting weird. They're kind of going back to the old ways of the 40s over there. So I can see, and then we're talking about immigration, like all these immigrants and uproar and all this, like it's getting weird. And then of course UK is just a little island. It'll be very easy to do an EMP in the ocean and just have that tsunami take it all out. So that could be one way of depopulating the UK, but they had it the worst. Canada, I believe, was 60%, and the US was like 70%. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
70% of the US. Oh, because you guys got like billions of people down there, like a lot more than Canada.
Well, there's 350 to 400 million people in the United States.
So take 70% of that.
Yeah, that would be.
That's a lot. I think it's a lot of people. So it's probably not just going to be one event. I would think that some are going to get taken out by war, probably, and then some are going to be pestilence. Let's call it that. Pestilence is, they talk about it in the Bible even, and that's been a reoccurring kind of thing of taking out people, calling the herd, if you will.
Even if they took out, you already know this, that when they've talked about it many times about taking out the power, and that in 3 months 90% of the people would perish, and I do believe that would probably be something to that. But even if there was another attack,
2 years, most of the people will be gone. And honestly, that would, like, if I was in charge of doing this kind of stuff, that's how I would do it. There's a lot less blood on their hands. Just take out the power, wait a couple of years. Most people will be gone by then. Only the farmers and the self-sufficient people are the only people that will be left, basically, and they can just come in and take the resources. Going back to that, why blow up the whole place? Then you can't use any of the stuff, So that would make sense to me, how to do it. And so they have talked about cyber attacks and all of this. Look out for that, like right out of their own mouths. And so we kind of are expecting something like that.
Exactly.
They can just flick the switch and it's gone, and they just blame it on something, blame it on a different country, blame it on whatever. But it's probably
the thing is, that would be the perfect opportunity to roll out. The government could have these robots like this. They'll probably have bigger, better ones. Roll them out to patrol the streets. Like you said, there'd be mounted projectile weapons on there to, there would be instantaneous justice from the AI that would, what movie was that? Judge Dredd. Remember? I don't know if you ever watched Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd would get there and I am the law, and he would say, by section 34, 28, 72, you are sentenced to 20 years in prison. Right now, take him away. You are sentenced to death. kaboom, you were, he made law, he read the law, he judged you right there, and you didn't get a trial, you didn't get nothing. These robots could do the same thing. I'm judging
That's
you.
what's so scary. I know. And, if you go and look at a lot of the movies, right, there's a lot of predictive programming in this whole area that
Yes.
you're talking about here. And that's what's so scary. And this is why they want facial recognition in,
Yep.
because that way this thing will know exactly who you are. It's looking
Yeah.
at your
You
face.
can't.
You don't have to tell them your name. They know
You.
who you are, and they'll know your past. They'll know
Yep.
what you've done before. And if you just done something now, yeah, they could just,
You can't
charge
outrun
you
the
and execute
camera.
on the
You
spot.
can't outrun the radio. You can't out. That's why years ago criminals got away because they could outrun the cops. Now you can't outrun the camera. You
No,
can't outrun the
cameras
tracking
everywhere.
system. Yeah,
Yes.
your car is
Yeah.
low jacked with trackers in it, and well, I forget what they wanted to pass that law that said that the police can hack into your car and literally shut it down.
Well, if you have a smart car, I hate to tell you, but they can shut down your car anytime they want to. And that's what's
Yeah,
happening now. People are stealing cars. They'll just shut the car down. You ain't going nowhere. Matter of
yeah,
fact, the doors will be locked. You can't get out of it. So that you have to sit there and wait for them to come and take you. So that's kind of how it is. And they can listen to everything. If you got a smart TV, smartphone, you got a smart everything, well, it's smart, all right, because it's listening to everything that you're saying, probably recording it for later to be used against you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like even the show we're doing right now, this is, probably be
yeah,
used against us later, because we said this,
yeah.
and whatever. And oh yeah, it's not just conspiracy anymore now. It's happening right in front of our eyes.
It is.
And so this digital ID, the real ID, I do believe that's already been forced upon the Americans already. Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to,
Well, if
right?
you want to get on a plane and go somewhere, I guess I had to get my license. I did not get the real ID. I just got a regular driver's license, so I am homebound and I cannot fly to foreign countries right now.
Right. So yeah, so if you don't get it, then you're not going to be able to travel and whatever else that they're going to restrict you from doing. And for some of us, we don't really care. But younger people, though, they'll care. If you
Yeah,
like
you
to
want to go on a
fly,
cruise, you better have your real ID. You want to go, fly across the country, you better have your real ID. And they will get it
yeah,
because they'll think it's so easy. Look, I
yeah,
just flashed that and I don't need this and I don't need that. I can
yeah,
just
it's
go.
convenient. I know, and this is how they're selling it to you. And in one sense, you're right. It is convenient because we don't need all these different IDs and everything. But this is part of why they're doing the whole immigration thing, causing all this uproar with all these illegals. Well, how are you going to cipher out who's legal and who's not?
Yeah.
Real ID. You have to have a real ID, or you scan your retina, or whatever, facial recognition. How else are you going to know? You have to be in this database, otherwise you're just considered an illegal, and that's where it's going, unfortunately. So these things here, if they see you and they don't recognize you, they're just going to assume that you're an illegal, and they might just do something about it on the spot. That's the scary
Yeah.
thing here. And there's no humanity here. It's not like a person that you can talk to and try and, reason with. It's just a machine. So,
I can see it now. The thing will come up
yeah,
and say, show me your ID, and it'll
yeah,
scan it, and then it'll, well, you're so and so, or they'll like you said, facial recognition if you don't
yeah.
have one,
Mm-hmm.
and if you leave, it could taser you, or maybe it would, follow the cameras would follow you, and then it call the police, and who knows what it would do. I mean, I'm
Who
not sure.
knows? Yeah, I mean, this is not good news for us.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not good news at all. I don't like it. And yeah, so this is already happening. I mean, like I said, Trump has one of those things on his Mar-a-Lago property that's going
yeah,
around, So
yeah.
he's already using, and he's big on this. Oh, you have land and sea and everywhere you're gonna have this, and he's all for it, But people didn't listen to that before they voted him in. You see, so that's the
Well,
problem.
we
So
didn't
now
really.
they're like,
The thing
oh,
was, is we didn't have really good choices. It was either
well,
the
there was
crazy
no
lady or
choices, but well, the choice is what I've been saying all along. Is what I do is that if nobody voted at all, nobody,
hmm
Not a single vote.
Yep.
That will make them go away eventually. If you just turn your back on them, you just ignore them, you don't pay attention to their show, you don't vote. Because if you vote, then you're part of the problem. You consented now to this, to whatever they're going to do in the next 4 years. You consented by voting. So, that's the thing. We got to stop doing that. But yeah, what people just don't seem to get that. They think that they're making a difference here by voting, or no, it's but whatever. Anyways, he's in there now, so we're just gonna have to ride this out, but yeah, interesting times for sure. We got to keep our eye on the Middle East here now, this whole immigration thing. Yeah, I have a feeling that it's going to escalate, and it's really going to blow up, I think, around the July 4th weekend. So be prepared for that. I would stay away from crowds, stay away from the big cities, and that. Just concentrate on, just have a family barbecue in your backyard or something. You know what I mean? Just stay low. Enjoy yourself, obviously, and don't sit here and worry about it. But just stay low, stay close to home. You know what I mean? Enjoy your family and whatever. But yeah,
you were talking about the Bilderberg group. This kind of goes about big gatherings, and it's like the Bilderberg group. You said that none of the big wigs really went, and why is that? Well, we're in a time of literally war to start soon, or whatever. But that's exactly what happened in Iran with all their head military guys. They got together. They went there for some kind of treaty or summit or something, and all of them gathered together, and then they wiped them all out at one time.
So I'm going to put this out there. Okay. There is going to be a Bohemian Grove show going on here in the summer. Just take them all out all at once. Boom. Take them all out. All these fuckers. They don't need to be around. Yeah. I mean, I've said, why is that's not happening? Like, if I was a criminal, if I was, that's what I would be doing. You know what I mean? Like, take them all out. Yeah. So anyways, these rockets that they have now, though, are so precise. I don't know if you saw this, but it targeted the guy in his apartment. So only his apartment got affected. Yeah, they know exactly where you are. And actually, if you go and watch Max's show,
don't be giving crazy people ideas. Remember, this is just for entertainment.
Well, yes, I know, but
good thing you're a Canadian.
I'm Canadian, so what do I know, right? Just up here.
But that's the thing is large gatherings. It didn't, and that's what you were saying earlier. But it doesn't matter if you're a politician or you're gathering for whatever event it is. If you're a bigwig. They could do it to just crowds that are gathering for a concert.
They can do it when you're sitting at home on your toilet. I mean, they know exactly where you are inside your apartment building.
Yeah.
Okay, they can target you like from, and this is from miles and miles away. So yeah, nobody's safe. Safe.
But I'm just saying is they're not going to target Joe Blow sitting on his toilet while he's taking a dump. But mass kill zone would be, a concert, a big event, something like a big giant gathering,
this is why
in the city.
I'm kind of warning you guys against, I don't know what you guys do on July 4th, but there's probably a lot of gatherings. I'm assuming people getting together, festivals. I don't know exactly, but I would stay away from the big crowds just for that reason alone. If somebody wanted to hurt America, that would be the perfect day. And actually, Independence Day, wasn't that a movie?
Yeah.
Could it be that, because we're waiting for the fake alien invasion, could they actually be doing it on that day? Could that movie be a prediction of what's, again, it's time will tell, but be prepared for that. Like, I'm kind of waiting. I'm going to have my popcorn ready for July 4th, man. And I can't wait to see if America's going to get taken over by aliens now, or what's going to be happening over there. But
yeah, well, and that's the thing, that I was telling you a little bit about that space thing, and the probe came back and they decoded it and said, stay home till you're more advanced. I'm gonna dig into that a little more and see if it was all true. But if it was, it just tells you that if you're an alien, they're looking at us like,
Oh yeah, we're like,
you people are, you're
like
too
a bunch of
savage.
retards down here. Yeah, no, for
If you get
sure.
out into the universe and you're out there, all you're going to do is conquer other planets, and you're
Yeah,
going to kill off other species. You can't even be nice amongst your human selves.
I know.
You're all fighting over some religion. You're fighting over politics. You're fighting over
Mhm.
everything. Uh, you know,
It's like kindergarten. I know. We're still in kindergarten down here. And that's
yeah,
that's one thing is I don't I don't think that if there is such a thing, okay, if we're gonna go with the Anunnaki story or whatever, that there is aliens, that there is space and all of this, because everything is up for debate nowadays. Like
yeah,
I don't even know, but let's go with that. Okay. Now, if we are some kind of investment to somebody, they're not just going to let us blow ourselves up. If we have invented some, because that's also up for debate, whether we have nukes or not, because kind of looking at our track record, I would say we probably would have used it already. We probably wouldn't be here if we did, unless maybe there has been some intervention. Maybe
mm,
they have made sure that that we don't have that, or destroy them so that they don't work or whatever, right? Because if we start blowing up our planet here, that's going to have a ripple effect to the rest of the universe, I would think. And so they're not, that would be like letting a 2-year-old run around with scissors. It's not a good idea. That's kind of the stage we're at right now. And so, yeah, if that is correct, if that is real, that what that kind of makes sense. Yeah, no, we have no business. And apparently, again, everything is up for debate because who knows what's real or not. But apparently, we did make it to the moon, and that we were on the dark side of the moon, and we were told to leave immediately and never come back
yeah.
again. And so and this is why we haven't gone back. We
Mhm.
destroyed the technology. Apparently, the tape got taped over. And we just
Yeah.
never returned. So that kind of makes sense. So yeah, no, yeah. Hopefully, there is some beings that are paying attention to what we're doing here and that are helping us in some way. So
Mm.
um,
And then if they did, and we are to have a culling, maybe that's because they know we're getting to be too many and we're getting too powerful that we might go to space, to conquer some other planets because we need more room, because that's kind of what it's about. We're out elbow to elbow here. It's time to go to space and conquer Mars, and go to Jupiter and go beyond, Star Trek
well,
stuff.
I mean,
And they're
Musk is
going,
talking about colonizing on Mars, and
yeah,
I one time I entered into, I can't remember, well, it wasn't Chat GPT. I think it was just Google or something like that. How many humans are living on Mars? And it gave me a number. It was 100 and something people or whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay. So
well,
Google is already telling me that, hey, there's already people up there. So yeah, there's
that's a
probably a
good
lot
question.
we don't know about. What's that?
I got it up. I'll just ask it. How many?
Oh, there you go. You got the Chat GPT guy there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we're getting too noisy down here. There's too
The
many
big,
of us, and there's too many people waking up, kind of becoming self-aware, if you will, you know what I mean, and to what's going on. And so that's probably why they want to cull the herd a little bit. This would be a lot easier for them to manage, and then erase our memory and our history and everything and start all over again, which they've done a few times, I do believe. So,
it says current human population on Mars is 0.
oh, okay. So
Huh.
that's
So
interesting that I got a
this one is
different
not lying to me.
I got a different answer. Yeah, it was. I was shocked actually. I can't remember what it was that I asked, but I don't have Chat GPT, so I don't know what it was. Yeah, I'm like, wow, okay. Um, yeah, the Bonnie's
I
talking
guess you just
about.
gotta ask the right questions.
Yeah, or maybe they've taken that down now. You see, that's the thing.
They could have.
Glitches. There's glitches in the things. This thing was honest, and I was like, oh shoot, yeah, we better not tell them that. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bonnie's talking about women's cycles and whatnot because it does seem to be affected by the
That's because
moon.
but
So,
Mars has 2 moons, so maybe you ovulate
I was
twice.
going to say, I'm sure they have their own moons and whatnot. So I don't know how that's going to fare with humans, But from what I've heard, though, that we actually are more compatible with Mars than we are with Earth.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's the thing. I think it's not that we can't. I don't think it's that we were told not to come back.
Hmm.
We have no business being up there or anywhere else for that matter, I guess, right? So, yeah.
Every question I put in there just says, nope, nothing but robots up there.
Taking it out.
Nothing but
Yeah.
robots. No
Oh,
humans
so
on
how did the
Mars.
robots get up there, though?
Huh?
How the robots get up there?
Well, yeah, the rockets, I guess. It says
We've been
first
shooting rockets up there with
human.
robots that are actually roaming around up there.
Yeah, well, we got those that take all the pictures of the scenery
I
on
mean, you
Mars.
can debate that with the moon landing too.
Yeah.
Who was filming that when you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
yeah, I mean that whole filming thing was done in the studio,
So
obviously.
the thing I just wonder is they can send one of those little probes to Mars that
Mm.
runs around and takes all the pictures and climbs the mountains and goes through the
Samples,
dirt and
yeah.
everything. Yet we
Hmm.
can't send one of those to the moon to do the same thing.
Yeah, sure we can. Like I say, I think we were told not to come back, and they're not doing anything. The moon is
Just
not
yeah,
what we think it is, right? The moon has been
yeah,
proven that it's hollow, it's metal. I do believe that there's all kinds of things going on inside the moon. I think it's a very close to Earth. Obviously, it's a hub, right? You would go there first, and then continue on over here. There's all kinds of things going on there. So,
yes.
you know,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't wait for the day that some private person figures out how to send a rocket to the moon and, you know, get up there and go, ha, I figured out the secret, and send something up there and infuriates the aliens. Like, what are you doing? And then the government gets really mad. Like, we weren't supposed to go back. What are you doing? Well, it's the moon. I wanted to send a rocket to the moon, man, and I got a robot up there. you
Well,
know?
I mean, Musk is kind of, doing that kind of stuff, and he's got the money.
He's too in with the government that
Well, okay, let's go back to the feud. Okay, so
yeah,
either it was like just a huge distraction, could be from that article we just talked about earlier, or if it is real, um, did Musk find out something about what the plans are or something in there because he was tight with Trump, right? Trump must have told him things. Did he found out something and he's like, yeah, no, I want nothing to do with this. I'm out of here. Peace
yeah,
out. Like, that kind of thing. Which then you got to question what is coming. What does Musk know that he turned his back on Trump? Because I thought they were bros. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah.
so
I agree.
unless it is just a big game and they're all laughing at us and behind the scenes, who knows? We won't know for sure. I guess time will
But
tell.
then, oh yeah. Well, I mean, then again, why Musk with all his rockets and everything? Why doesn't And he's got the best rockets. Why isn't he sending something to the moon? He's sending a car out into space.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Nobody's interested in the moon anymore. They've been there, done that. They're not going back there. You know what I mean? He wants
yeah,
to go to
it
Mars
just sounds so weird that we're
now.
going to concentrate on a whole nother planet, and we just must know too much about the moon. There's nothing up there to see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
sounds so
Nothing to see here,
ridiculous.
folks. Yeah.
Logic says that you would naturally establish a colony on the moon first, and from there you could shoot off rockets into Mars easily. versus shooting them from Earth into space and then from space into to Mars.
Yeah.
But if
So
you
obviously
already,
there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that, right?
yes,
Otherwise they would have done it that way, but they're not. So there's a reason
of course.
why that happened there. So I can't wait for more disclosure, honestly. I mean, so disclosure today now is posts on X, posts on Truth Social. Like, this is how they're doing it, and it's happening so fast now. And a lot of it's getting missed because there is so much going on all at once that we, don't seem to be able to follow it all, So this is why I wanted to do the show about that, because, I think that's something that the American people really should start asking questions, start writing emails to all these people and asking them, like, who the heck is in charge of our country? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
They
don't have any interest in things that actually work. I mean, we know that the electric car thing is a big scam because it takes so much copper and so much energy to make an electric car that we the thing is you wouldn't, everybody couldn't have an electric car, put it that way. There's no way everybody could have an electric car.
They're catching on fire. They're spontaneously bursting into flames and stuff like that. So they're not even safe. And I think, so I don't know if that is part of why Musk is upset. Maybe Trump said, you know what, we're going to ex-nay the whole, Tesla car and all this. And I did hear something about that. And that may have pissed him off, right? That alone.
He just was signing a bill that infuriated the Californians because he said California cannot impose emissions on cars for California. You can't just say we're not going to have gas powered cars here. We got to have this rating instead of that rating. The government sets the emissions rating, not California. It'd be so like you couldn't drive to California and drive in the state and it'd say, hey, your car doesn't meet our emissions. Or, hey, you can't use a lawnmower or you can't drive a gas powered car in our, I guess it's 2035. They said no more gas cars. Well, and
how are
it's
you
like,
going to get around in that country? Your country is so big to get from one place to the other. You can't go with electric. And there is no places to fuel up or whatever, you know what I mean? So, it's not, unless we're all just in 15-minute cities and your little electric thing can just go to 15 minutes, and that's what they're wanting to, so that we can't just, drive cross country and all this kind of stuff anymore.
Well, like I said before, you either have to have less people to fit the amount of cars you could actually make, or you have to not have electric cars for everybody. And you can't, so, and they said that people are not buying the electric cars.
No, they're expensive. And who wants that? Because it doesn't go very far. Like here, like people like in my town, we commute all the way into Vancouver, a lot of people. Well, that electric car probably wouldn't even make it all the way to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some people don't have the luxury of, being able to charge it up. They might be parked somewhere weird or whatever. And it's just not. No, it's just not. Well, like you said, the key word there, I think, is how many people. And considering that depopulation is one of the things they talk about, and Deagle reports, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Just keep your head on a swivel, everybody, and lay low, I would say, for the July 4th weekend. And, hope for the best.
Yeah, just be safe.
Just stay safe. Stay out of it. I wouldn't even go to those protests and whatever. I don't know. Because what they're doing, they're scanning all your faces, talking about, surveillance and all of that. All of you are now being recorded. And that stuff will go against you later on. Next thing, I'm knocking on your door.
That's the thing. How many people are going to go to them protests and not bring their cell phone? Most all of them are going to bring their cell phone.
Of course, everybody has a phone.
And you're tracked there. They don't have to have your face. They don't have to have your scan or this or that or whatever. your phone, they're just going to ping your
They'll
phone,
know
and
you're
then
there.
look at
Yeah, they'll know you're there
little,
just by the location, right? So they know exactly
yep,
where you are at all times.
yeah,
But they'll probably be scanning the crowd and everybody's got their facial recognition thing in there, and they'll know exactly who was there.
yep.
You know, and yeah, why
You
give
know,
them that? Stay
you
home, as
know,
Bonnie said. Yeah,
and that could be why a lot of those people I've seen on some of those videos are wearing face masks, and of
yes.
course they're wearing their shields and their hard hats and shields in front of their faces. I don't know, can a scanner scan your face if you're wearing a face shield or a hard hat?
Yeah, no, probably not. There's too much glare, and whatever. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, that is exactly why they're wearing it. And that would be the only time that I do recommend to wear a facial mask would be in something like that. Yeah, to wear the. So, yeah, I would. Yeah, I know Max is in here and he's talking about ping your body. Like
right.
yeah, go and watch that show. We talked about all kinds of things in
Well,
that show
well,
there.
remember all those people who took the jab, they're giving off a Bluetooth signal. There you go. You can't hide from that.
That's another thing. Who knows what's in there and what they're tracking and tracing you in all different kinds of ways, So, yeah.
That's the thing. We forget about those little things. Like, oh yeah, remember that? We slowly forget and move on, and then it's like, oh yeah, and then
They
you
count
think
on
you're
it.
safe. You think
Yeah.
you're safe, but you're really not. Oh, I
No.
left my cell phone at home. I'm good. I put a face mask on. I'm good. And Max is right. They'll just ping your body. You're giving off a
Yeah,
Bluetooth
his
signal.
masks won't stop that because they have ways of tracking you. They know exactly where you are and whatever. And so
It's
this
like we're wearing
makes
a
me
big
wonder,
antenna on our head.
if that's the case, right? Why haven't they found this guy that did this thing yesterday? Like, what?
Yeah, it's a
It
good
should be
question.
fairly easy to find, but yeah.
And
So that
brought
makes
up
you
the
wonder
high tech equipment.
if he's part of it. If that's just
Yeah.
what I mean, because normally they would have found him right away if it was an actual loose cannon.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
See, and
So
that's another thing. Exactly. Was he a hitman? Who are these people? I
sleepers,
mean,
they've said that they're waking up all the sleepers. I mean, Iran said that even. So now we got all these immigrants in here. We don't know who they are or what they've been through, right? Some of them are going to be sleeper cells. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And so, yeah,
I,
yeah. Well,
I
see, that's
wonder if these people were they. I'm trying to look it up here. I don't know if they were Republicans or Democrats. Doesn't really. Oh, they were the members of the Democratic who represent. Oh, they were Democrats. Hoffman was also a Democrat, represents Minnesota State District 34. Hoffman and his wife have one daughter and a family member. Yvette Hoffman shielded their daughter from the gunman. There you go. Saturday morning conference. Yeah, so they did not. There are Democrats, yeah, and they got a picture of the guy, and he's, so at least they have that.
so. This is a Trump supporter then that did this.
That's what they're gonna. Of course, that's what they're gonna say. It's one of those black job MAGA people, They tell they know his name apparently. 3 mile radius around Brooklyn.
I saw his picture. They know who he is.
Bolter is described as a white man who stands 6'1" tall, weighs 220 pounds, has brown hair, brown eyes, is wearing a light-colored cowboy hat, dark-colored long sleeve shirt, collar, a coat, pants. Well, of course he's wearing pants. But anyway, yeah. Why did they put that? He's wearing pants.
Well, it could be a kilt or something. Who knows?
But he's wearing this big cowboy hat and a coat, and I'm thinking, well, first thing he's going to do is take off the coat and the cowboy hat, and you probably wouldn't recognize him because that's what you're looking for, a guy with a coat and a cowboy hat. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's got this figured out.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird that they haven't found them, to be honest, because they seem to be able to track everybody now. So, but anyways, I guess our show is kind of getting long in the tooth here.
Yes.
Let's wrap
it up before
Yeah, we must wrap it
People
up. Unless you guys have any questions, put them in here now. You guys are here live. That's great. For those of you who are watching the replay, make sure that you are smashing the like, subscribe, and share this out. And we'll be uploading this obviously to Rumble, Odysee, and Bitchute. So if you are watching on those platforms, make sure that you follow me over there as well, okay? And hit the like over there as well, and yeah, go and subscribe to Robert's channels as well. All that stuff is down in the description down below here. And yeah, any last words that you got for us tonight, Robert?
Oh, well, stay safe. Remember to prepare for the worst. It's like an insurance policy. We don't know if there's going to be a war. We don't know if there's going to be good times. We don't know if an earthquake's going to come. We don't know if a hurricane's going to come. Get a little bit of extra food. Make sure your gas tank is always topped off. Don't be scared of the world around you. Just be cautious, and you got nothing to worry about, as most of us do. We're already like that, but pass it on to your neighbors, because they could become the ones who aren't listening and don't have food or a place or anything, and they create havoc for you. It's always the other person.
Well, that's the problem. You can be all prepped up as much as you can, but it's the neighbors that are gonna come knocking on your door, and they're not gonna be nice about it. So there's that too. But yeah, so get as many people prepped as possible, so that there's not going to be a discord when if and when it happens. You know what I mean? That everybody's prepared and ready to go. You know what I mean? So whether it's power outage or whatever reason, you know what I mean, cyber attacks, there's all kinds of things. Yeah, or even just uproar with the immigrants. You might have to shelter in place for a while because it's just mayhem out there, so that you don't have to go to the store, right? You don't have to go without, that you have what you need, and so, at home already, so that you can just lock the door and ride it out, you know what I mean? And be comfortable, right? So, yeah, that's what prepping is all about. But, yeah, so stay safe, everybody. Yeah, don't be scared, obviously, right? But just I would avoid, large crowds, especially those protests and all of that stuff there. It's just nothing good's going to come out of it, really. You're not going to make Trump go away just because you're standing there saying no king. He's going to have the same ego the next day, and he's going to do whatever it is that he's going to do anyways. We're not doing anything other than your face being now tracked and reported that you were there, which means that you're now flagged as a troublemaker, which could come back to bite you in the ass later. That's kind of how these things work, so yeah, this too shall pass as well. I'm kind of like at that point right now. I just want it over with. Whatever it is that they're planning, whatever it is that's coming, let's just get it over with so we can start rebuilding again. You know what I mean? And stop living like we're walking on eggshells, because that's how I feel. I can feel something is coming, but exactly what and when and how, I don't know. But yeah. So anyways, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for smashing that like, if you don't mind. Oops, camera's bouncing here. And sharing it out. That helps the channel out for sure, because we know that YouTube's algos is not doing it for me. So especially this show, probably. Yeah, maybe there's no plan. He says, I think there's a lot of plans in work, Steve. We just aren't privy to it, So, yeah. But yeah, so anyways, yes, well, that's just it. Exactly, so
with that,
anyways,
remember, get your no consent, we do not consent shirt.
Well, there you go. See, that's something that you can do. That's you're showing them that you do not consent to what's going on, okay, without having to say a thing. Just you walking around in your grocery store and walking around the mall or whatever it is that you're doing, you're speaking out in volumes without actually having to say a thing, and when it comes to the karma thing too, because they think that they have a right to do it because they told us in the movies, because even Trump's tweets and all that, he's telling us, Okay. And if we don't do anything about it, well, karma's, not on their hands. They can just, and so by saying we do not consent, well, the karma's back on them then. You know what I mean? So yeah. Anyways, you guys can go to the merch store and get that. Let's see if I have that here. I think I do. Go and check out the merch store. Get yourself some, I do not consent. We do not consent. That's what you should be wearing if you are going to these things, right? That we don't consent to it, and that's the thing. And yeah, and they also help out the channel as well. So there you go. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. You guys can leave some feedback down below later if you want, and we'll keep you posted on what's going on. There might be more shows like this, since this is a hot topic and this is kind of what we need to talk about, because some people just don't know, and whatever. So yeah. So thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for Hump Day on Wednesday, obviously. And I'm not even sure what next week is going to be about. We'll have to talk about that, Robert. What's most important? And leave us some feedback on shows that you would like to see, topics that you want us to bring up and discuss. You know what I mean? And then that way you are in control of what we're doing here. You know what I mean? Especially if you're not, I don't really like those shows. Well, then give us some suggestions on shows that you do want to see. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Steve doesn't like that. And I do realize, and this is the problem with my channel, is I do have 2 different kinds of content here. And a lot of people aren't going to be into the politics and all of this kind of stuff. And so that's why I'm saying, a few times in the show now that, if that's not your thing, then maybe this isn't the show for you. You know what I mean? Just bypass that show then, right? And come back when we do have a show that you are interested in, right? Rather than just leaving in the huff and unsubscribing, which a lot of people have done, you know what I mean? And that just, yeah. So I do apologize for the 2 different kinds of content, but anyways, for those who are into the spiritual stuff and tarot and whatnot, join us on Wednesday. That's when we're going to be doing that show. And yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys this week. So stay tuned and we'll let you know what next week's going to be all about. And again, thank you for watching. Stay safe and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.